Hello and welcome back to Schmindel Schmunlimited, the podcast for reviews, rants, and ramblings about books from our favorite way to get books. I'm one of your hosts, Amity.
I'm Lauren.
And I'm Steph, and for episode 3, we're going to be talking about the book Love Redesigned by Lauren Asher.
Yep, Lauren Asher. And this is not the first book of hers that I've read. I've read a whole couple series by her,
Yes.
same with you
Yes.
as well, Lauren. Right, but before we get into this book, how's everybody's week been? It was just Mother's Day.
Well, as the only mother here, Amity, how was your Mother's Day? Unless you count dog moms.
It was not, dog moms definitely count. But it was nice. We went to the beach and I read on the beach, which I love. I love doing, and it's...
What did you read?
I was reading The Graham Effect by L. Kennedy.
Love that book.
It was so good. I very much enjoyed it. It flew by. It was a good, captivating story, like sports, hockey.
College.
Yes. Just, it flew right by, and I love the ability to easily read at the beach. Like, when I remember to bring my Kindle, it's great.
You don't have to do it on your phone.
Yes.
With the sun blinding.
Oh my god. It's impossible. It's impossible.
Do you need, like, umbrella and no one to bother you?
No. So luckily, like, the girls are old enough now that it's not as, like, overbearing. They were skimboarding, which was fun.
Oh, okay.
That's fun.
Or they were attempting to skimboard, I should say. And that was a lot of fun. They did really good, and, you know, they weren't going in the water, like skimboarding's right on the shore. So they were easy to supervise, but it was Mother's Day, so I said, Brian, I'm going to read, and then he did the supervising.
Nice.
And that's what I was reading. What are you guys reading?
What did I just finish reading?
I just started the 9th Zodiac. It came out, when did it come out?
Tail end of April.
Tail end of April. So I was finishing up a book, and so I am now just starting Zodiac 9, which is very long. It's over 1,000 pages. So we'll see how long it takes.
I can't wait to hear your thoughts. We'll probably hear them when we recap episode 4.
I finished Flyby by C.W. Farnsworth.
Okay.
It's cute. Enemies to lovers-ish. She's a doctor. He's a pilot in the Air Force. It was really
fun.
cute. Yeah, it's cute.
That is cute.
Yeah.
There's so many enemies to lovers, like even going into this book, it's enemies to lovers. I wonder how many people actually start out as enemies. We need to start doing like little surveys.
That's a great idea.
And we could do like, have you ever fake dated someone?
Yes.
That's such a great idea.
We'll put that out there. So let us know in your comments about this episode, either on YouTube or right on our Instagram socials, Schmindel Schmunlimited. If you've ever enemies to lovers.
Yes, if you ever
in real life.
In real life. Are there real enemies to lovers, or are they just in the Kindle Unlimited series?
All right, so let's get into Love Redesigned.
Yes.
I always go to call it Love Unfinished, and I don't know why. Maybe it's because they started out childhood friends?
Maybe.
Yes.
I think
And the last book we read were things we left unfinished.
Oh, that must
Yes.
be it. That must be it.
we're merging
Okay.
the book titles. It's okay.
Anyway, so Love Redesigned.
So this is a second book in the series.
This is the first book in
First
the
book
series.
in the series.
The second book comes out in June, I
June
think.
18th.
Okay,
Yeah.
June 18th, yes.
So it comes out soon, especially it'll be close to the release date of this episode that it comes out. And we first start out, chapter 1 is, it's dual point of view. Julian, our male main character, and it's his point of view. He's running late to see his godson at a school event and literally crashes into our female main character. Did you say her name? Dahlia?
Dahlia? I think
Dahlia.
it's Dahlia.
Dahlia,
The fla-
Dahlia.
Yeah.
Like the flower, I just realized, I was like, this is something I say in my head a lot and not out loud a lot. So he literally crashes into Dahlia. They get into a car accident and sort of rekindle their immediate hatred for each other.
Yeah, they're childhood friends
Yes.
that went to college together and had a kiss one night, and then
Julian's dad died and he left Stanford.
Yeah, and you learn all of this over time. So you don't really understand
why they hate each other so
Right.
much.
And I will say, even in the character development, I still didn't understand why, with the exception of, like, they were 19 and stupid. they hate each other so much.
So strong with her hatred. Like, I don't think he really ever hated her. He just kind of went along with it.
It was almost like, I'm going to hate you to your face. Like, I want the best for you. I just don't want it to happen near me.
Yeah, I don't want you to be near me. I don't want to talk to you.
Right.
But they have this, like, weird competition with their godson where they kind of want to be the best godparents.
Yeah, so they share a godson, and their moms are BFFs. And the moms were so cute.
Meddling moms.
Yes. The moms, Rosa and
Josephina.
Yes, Rosa and Josephina, their moms, who are also best friends, who've also, like, always kind of wanted them to be together.
I think the whole family kind of wanted them to get together. And they have this, like, group chat, too, with all...
Yeah, the whole family group chat.
Which,
it's some of the, like, here I go again in my logistical downing on books. But, like, they have this whole family group chat, always. But, like, also, I don't know anything about the other one. I don't want to keep up with the other one.
Yes,
like, it's just very, like, oh, okay.
So, yeah, and Dahlia's back in town because she just...
went through a big breakup.
Giant breakup.
Her engagement is off. And immediately in the book, in both of their perspectives, you get the Spanish incorporation of different words and phrases, you know, like, because they're truly dual language people.
Yeah.
And so there'll be different phrases and stuff. One thing that I had a hard time with in the fluidity of reading this particular book is that the translations weren't until the end of the chapter.
Yes.
And so by the time the chapter was over, unless it was like, I gotta skip ahead and figure out what this means for context, like, it would just be like the number 2 and corazón contento, which, like, apparently means full stomach, happy heart, but, like, I didn't even remember how that was relevant.
Yes.
It is hard to skip forward to the end of the chapter in Kindle.
Right, like the navigating
holding the actual book.
is harder.
And so I started this book on our flight back from DC.
Yes.
So you needed internet, because if you press the internet, the button, it would tell the
I
automatic.
did notice that after a while.
But since I didn't have internet and the flight, I didn't want to pay for the flight Wi-Fi, I just thought the end of the chapters were like little hashtags. Like, I didn't know they were the translation until later on. I was like, oh, this is like such, or like inner monologue. Like, I didn't know. I was like, why are these random words happening at the end of the chapter?
That's so funny. Yeah, that was where I started it as well. It was hard to navigate that back and forth, but I thought it added a lot. I really enjoyed it with the book.
Yeah.
I don't know if even the technology exists, you know, because with the Kindle you can change the font size.
Yes.
And so, like, sometimes I'd need it to appear here, but sometimes here.
Yeah.
Or if it would make sense to move it to the end of the paragraph.
Or at the bottom, like with the little, when you're reading a text,
and it's at the bottom of that page.
Yeah, like asterisk.
Something like that. I wanted that to go a little bit differently, because I think some important scenes would have read smoother.
Yes.
Had those translations been more readily available.
And I think it was hard too because it was like a lot of Spanish and then
all in a row. And then they'd go back to speaking.
And then at the end of the chapter.
Yes.
Yes. It was, yeah.
And it wasn't the Spanish my 9th grade mind from
Absolutely not.
Translate well.
Yeah.
There were definitely some words in there that we did not learn in high school Spanish.
No.
Maybe unofficial high school Spanish, but not regular high school Spanish. Anyway, so that first car accident where they meet up, Dahlia actually tries to blame the whole thing on Julian while she was having a panic attack. Just kind of realizing she is back in her hometown. She had been very, very successful. She was a TV show interior designer. She had her own line, Dahlia's Designs, of just like house
chicken games.
Yes.
In Target.
Yes. And now she
lost all of it because it was all funded by her fiance and his family.
Yeah.
I guess, but it was really her idea. They were just producing it, and they just continued producing it kind of without her.
Yes.
We don't know that. It, you know, like TV, everything was delayed.
Yeah.
So the season was still happening, like everything was fine, even though in real time they had broken up.
Yes.
So episodes were still premiering where, like, all was well-ish.
Yeah.
But
so they're back in town and they're going to their godson's show.
Well, Dahlia's going home. I actually remembered it as them going to the Godson show too, and then I reread it and I was like, oh no, she's just going home. She's not even going to the show, which I feel like Julian should totally have called her out on in their competition, but he didn't. But Julian ends up figuring it out and telling the cops some story about her car having trouble, and so that's why he hit her, and so the officer was like, just make sure next time you really move your car out of the way. And he offers to pay for the whole thing to keep it off everybody's record. And it's like the first example where, so this series is lakeside.
Lake Wisteria.
But it's like Lake House Billionaires or something.
Yes.
And where you just learn how much money $1 billion is, and Julian loves to just throw it around.
Yes.
There's a recurring theme, which I do like kind of appreciate. Like if you're going billionaire, like live it
Might
up,
as well.
you know? But so that's one of the first examples of that. And so it's currently fall in Lake Wisteria, which is like the town is just adorably decorated. They talk about like the pumpkins and the cuteness and the festivals and everything.
It's on the west side of Michigan, so it's got the lake and the sand
and
dunes
the leaves and everything.
Very close to my heart.
And billionaires live here, but also like their regular upbringing homes are also still right there. It very much reminded me of where we are from in Naples, in that like, yep, billionaires live here, and also like regular people too.
And they did not grow up as billionaires.
No.
Julian made the billions
with his like
cousin.
cousin.
Yes.
Raphael.
Brother.
But it was his father's business that he blew up.
No, the billionaire thing was
He
because
was the tech.
Raphael and Julian had that tech company called Dwelling, and it's a search engine for real estate.
Okay.
And so they, and it goes big, it gets bought out or something, I don't know, whatever search engines happen.
Him and Rafa are billionaires, and Julian takes over his dad's
so Raphael runs the Dwelling part of the business, and that way Julian can focus on Lopez Luxury, his dad's construction company that he took over when he came home from Stanford after his dad died. And
so this guy comes back from Stanford, starts a tech company with his cousin, makes billions, and now is doing construction.
Still making a bunch of money doing it.
Yeah, still doing
apparently.
very, very well. Luxury construction for other billionaires. The Kane brothers, who Lauren Asher wrote a similar-ish series called The Dreamland Billionaires. It's, maybe you're not supposed to say this, but it's pretend instead of Kane, their last name is Disney. And it's like that if they were late 20s, early 30s hot men.
Yes.
And that
Walt Disney.
Yes. It actually connects the two. There's a connection to the two series later in the book. But so these families are very, very close and interact a lot. Like, again, I don't know how like either of them thought they could go so long without seeing each other again, because they have this routine of family game night. And so we learn through this family game night that Dahlia's prior 9-year relationship to her co-star in like her home reno and interior design TV shows, that was like full engagement, the wedding was very soon, like they were full in planning, ended because of a medical test that was part of their prenup. So again, his family came from money. His name's Oliver and he sucks. And and his family just has like this apparently standard operating procedure for prenups, which like how many kids are getting married that you've got this standard operating procedure?
Where you have to get genetic testing to make sure you're not going to have kids with the problem.
And so she learns she has some sort of genetic condition that she can easily pass, like these recessive genes that she just shouldn't have kids at all.
Yes.
To pass on. And so
there's like a huge possibility that her
Did they specify what the gene was or no?
No,
they just said it was.
There was some recessive genes.
Yes.
And they were bad, so she shouldn't have kids.
Also, I disliked Oliver, but I kind of felt like Oliver was just this character that just did whatever his parents told him.
Yes. He was their puppet.
Yes, and like she never did anything terrible. Like he did do stuff terrible, but he wasn't. He just like was.
Well, he went along with it.
Yes.
Because, she described Oliver when they were in college, and he didn't seem like a bad guy when they were
He was Julian's roommate and best friend.
Yes.
So he couldn't have been all bad, but he just probably lacked his own personality, and his parents told him this is how you adult, and he said okay.
And his parents probably had all the money and was like...
Right, and the control.
And all the control and stuff, so...
So Rosa, Julian's mom, suggests that to Julian that his job, he should really help Dahlia get out of her slump by suggesting that they work together on a project. So Julian's like, no, like, we don't work well together, and they're too competitive, but his mom is just like, for me, and he's like, okay, because the theme of this book
is family values.
Well, and men who just do what their mom says.
Yes.
but Julian's mom is nice and Oliver's mom's not. Anyways, so Julian agrees. So his mom, and the trade-off is his mom will stop setting him up on dates with her kids. I mean, her co-workers' daughters. Yeah. So we also learn in this kind of whole scene, there's a lot of deep character development that happens through a lot of plot in this book. So it's not the book is long.
Yeah.
And I felt like while reading it that what was actually happening in the scene, like what game they were playing at family game night and who had the turn and who said what, wasn't super important, but the conversations happening around the game or around the carnival they were planning or around the project they were working on at work were where a lot of pivotal character pieces came out. So in this particular conversation, told from Julian's point of view, he goes into the fact that he'll do anything for his mom because he watched his mom go through a horrific infertility that ended up in a stillbirth where she like basically coded on the table and was brought back.
And that's the reason he doesn't want kids.
Yes, because he's like, he has this saying, and I wish I would have written it down, but it was something like, there's a lot of ways to make a family.
Yeah. Something
like that, where like he didn't even want to put somebody he loves through that.
Wasn't his best friend, the one he started this business with, adopted by his parents?
Raphael. So I think so. Like that's why I think he's like his brother cousin.
Yes, yeah. And Raphael's going also through his own issues because Raphael has a son.
So book 2 in the series will be Raphael's book.
Yes.
And with his nanny Ellie. And that, like we said, it comes out June 18th. So some of the preview stuff is already out for it. I was reading it, prepping for this.
So yeah, he has a son, and the son's mother left.
Yes. Because to go to Oregon.
Yeah, because the son has
he's hearing impaired.
Yeah.
And a eyesight loss.
Yeah.
He has
Nico.
He has retinitis pigmentosa. Did I say that?
You did. You did very good.
I did say it, but I said it correctly, even better. But he's like a musical prodigy, and his nanny Ellie is the one teaching him to play music, and she's the female main character in book 2.
Yep.
Anyway, so Julian's like, fine. So then they have Sunday dinner, which is a separate night than game night, because they're just always together. And Julian goes to talk to Dahlia during Sunday dinner, and she accurately is like, you're only doing this because your mom wants to. And he's like, yeah, which I thought was great. And she's, struggling to get over that, engagement.
She goes through a lot of and the book talks a lot about her depression, and she's like talking to a therapist and how she has good days and bad days and that sort of thing. And when she goes through her bad day, she just watches dramas.
Yeah, there was some show they mentioned a lot, but it wasn't a real show, or at least one I'd heard of, so I didn't pick up on it. But that particular Sunday dinner, Julian notices her fiddling with her engagement ring that she was still wearing. He's like, why do you still have that? She's like, I don't know. And he's like, well, I'm going to help you get rid of it. She's like, I just found out I could, because she got back with their lawyers and stuff. Yeah, that she can, it's hers, she can do whatever she wants.
And it's a monstrosity of a ring.
Yes, and not her style, which he accurately calls out basically immediately. Like, oh, you've probably hated this thing since you got it. And she's like, oh, how does he know?
Foreshadowing.
Which goes into every story when there's an engagement and it's like, oh, that's definitely not your... I'm trying to think, there was a movie I watched and it was like, that's not you. I can't think of it right now.
But so he offers to help her get rid of her engagement ring. So he takes her to one of his construction sites where she just now notices the fact that Noah's great looking. She says, screw guys in backwards baseball caps, men in hard hats and work boots are my new kink. Thanks to Construction Ken standing in front of me with muscular arms and killer cheekbones. And I thought that was funny. Construction Ken. Was how I thought of Noah for Noah.
I am Kenneth.
Right. That was how I thought of Julian for a little bit there. Yes. So he helps her put the ring into a concrete mixer, destroying that. And then on their way home from that night, they see a for sale sign in front of the house of Dahlia's dreams. And this is the blue house that was owned by one of the founders of Lake Wisteria, the town. And she's like, oh man, I really want that house. And so then they get into this almost seemingly pretend petty argument because he's a billionaire and you have no job.
About who's gonna buy the house?
Right, I'm gonna buy it. No, I'm gonna buy it. And so instead they agree to go 50-50 on it. His company will fund all of it and do the work, but she'll get to pick out the interior, which feels like a great 50-50,
right?
I suppose.
How do I get one of those?
You know what I thought was like a little strange with this book is that they started talking about the founders, but then they like never really finished. Like, was that supposed to be a
like an important plot?
Yes, like, but there was only like a little.
There were a couple different things that I felt like would go further. Like, Julian has like this arch enemy kind of pseudo construction guy with this like very Italian name. He's brought up when they like hang out at the bar a couple times, but I was like, does he kidnap Dahlia?
I know.
Like, but
it never went anywhere.
No, he's just like, stop trying to buy houses in my town. I'm supposed to own all the houses here. And the other guy's like, oh, I don't know.
It was really not important to the
No. And then even like similar to the founders, so it's sort of related to the founders. This particular founder, I believe, the one who owned the blue house, his name might have been Gerald, might not have been, but
he built the house for the lady next door. Or no, the lady in the town next to him. They were gonna run away.
Right,
to
yeah,
town.
they had fallen in love together, but he was not good enough for her parents, and so he's like, let me just finish building this entire town, and then we can be together.
And then he dies while doing it.
Yeah, he dies while the house is on
and then like we never hear anything else.
Well, so the rumor is that he haunts the house.
Yes. Okay.
Which comes up later in that. Anyways, so they start working together on the house. They buy the house. Julian buys the house. Apparently right at that moment, although we're learn a little bit later. But as more and more people find out about them working together, some people are recounting the time. Like, remember the last time you worked together? Which I find so amazing. So they grew up in this like smallish town, went to all of the same schools, but the first time they have to work together in a group project, they've gotten all the way to college in Stanford.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And the first and only time they've ever worked together ends up with them kissing.
Yes.
And it must have just been like this mind-blowing, amazing kiss between people who had been close family friends before that. And then...
that always had like secret crushes on each other.
Right. And then immediately it's like kiss, Julian's dad dies, he flies home, they just stop communicating like human beings.
Yes. And he...
well, she tries to reach out to him and he just like stopped.
I think he had shut down.
Yes,
which is understandable.
Right.
His dad just died.
His dad just died. His mom, who... obviously, wanted a different life than she potentially ended up with. Not that she was ungrateful, but he now is the man of the house, for like lack of a better term, although I don't love that term either.
But he really took on the responsibility. Like,
he did. Like, started running his dad's company, and like it's not like they were at college in Stanford and home was an hour away, and he could potentially do both. Like, they were a plane ride away. It felt so. Again, like but like, why doesn't he say that? Also, like, I felt like they were 19 and stupid.
Also,
like,
did she just never go home for like vacations or anything?
Yes, but they're all in this family group.
Yeah, exactly.
The logistics here are sketchy.
Anyways, so once he flew home to take over his dad's company and help his mom, he didn't come back to school, and he left Dahlia high and dry with who to catch her but his roommate and former best friend, Oliver. And, we saw where that end. Yes. So they start working together on this project now, thinking for sure that, like, this one's going to be totally different, and they're just going to be totally professional and businesslike, and no one's going to fall in love or anything. And one thing that starts at this part of the book and just really, for both of the characters, continues over and over again, is they're both feeling, like, incomplete. Julian's, like, he's burnt out at work. He voices a lot of these, like, and I go home, but it's more of like a house than a home. Like, it's just it's empty, and I wish there was people there to fill it.
But he doesn't want to date any of them.
Right, I don't want to date, and I don't want to make friends. Like, no, whatever. And Dahlia's sad about her relationship with Oliver ending, and like sad, mad.
I think she was more upset about like the whole production and the
right,
show.
She's lost an awful lot, and it's not what I at least don't remember, but don't understand. Like, I feel for Dahlia in that, like, this relationship is over, but it's not like it was because of any specific thing that he did. It's just like this stupid hoop they're making you jump through. Oh no, he just ended it because of this qualification of her.
And then he started dating somebody right after, and I think it was on
his high school sweetheart.
Yes.
And then they elope.
They get engaged very quickly.
Yeah, they
and
elope
it ends
in
up all over
Vegas.
the news and stuff.
Yes. But they start working on this house. They balance all the other things that they've got working on. Julian, he doesn't slow down on the other projects he's working on. Dahlia has to have like her next fall's home decor line ready in very soon to continue with that partnership. And her assistant's still trying to secure her maybe a solo TV show.
Yeah.
So they see each other out at, like obviously this cute town has a Halloween party at their, bar and everything. And Julian continues dropping these like little nuggets that show he knows Dahlia like way better than she thought he did. So they end up arguing, and that bickering, when that like, I know you so well, so I know exactly what to say to make you upset, continues all the way until Sunday dinner. And so because of all that bickering, they get punished by their moms, and they have to do the dishes together. Like,
it was like very intense bickering, you know. And as I'm assuming I'm around Dahlia's age, I don't think I even bicker with my brother that way anymore.
Right?
No.
But I think there's this like added anger. She's very angry at him, and he doesn't know what to do with the anger. And so he just is like, fine, I'm going to push her buttons a little bit more. And at least he's getting a reaction from her besides like being ignored completely.
Yeah. So they go and they do a walkthrough of the house. And they're walking through the house, kind of making plans for like what happens here. They're really appreciating the intricate carpentry and the view and all of the cool stuff about the house. And as they get to the last room, Julian gets a phone call and he has to leave. And Dahlia's like, no problem, like I know how to lock doors, you're good. But she ends up getting distracted and going into the attic of the old creepy house all by herself.
Like the commercial.
Like decisions you probably should never
Have we read this scene before?
Right? And she runs into like a spider web, she falls, she breaks her arm, and she cannot get up. So she is getting a phone call and she's like, hey Siri, answer the phone. And it's just like, she's like, help, I've fallen and I can't get up.
She needs life alert.
Yeah, right? And Julian knows where I am. Tell me about the old, the house in the attic. And so whoever was calling, Julian ends up and he, races there real fast and picks her up, even though she can like kind of walk, but like couldn't get up on her own.
It's an arm, not a leg.
Whatever.
Logistics.
But in that process, didn't she find something?
Not yet.
Not yet, okay.
Not yet. So he picks her up and he takes her, and he can't even go to like the regular doctor in town because it's like the same doctor who's been treating people since they were kids. He like needs to go to the next town over for like the younger, smarter doctor. And while waiting for her at the doctor's office, Julian starts to admit to himself that he's got feelings for Dahlia, like even after all those years ago in college, that they just kind of never gone away, and that must be why he's never really connected to anybody else or anything. And so then they keep getting back to work. So the book progresses and they're in the house and they're cleaning out the house. They find a collection of letters from the original founder who built the house. And the house was supposed to be, like we said before, like that ode to his love. And she must have just really liked ornate woodworking.
Yes.
Which I guess like back in the day when like your options were like play the piano, appreciate art,
needlework,
painting something, I don't know. So she was into woodworking and really appreciated it. And so his love's family was not exactly willing to let her marry him. So he was working on establishing this new town to become someone they'd let her marry. And so it's just like a little bit.
Did it have the blueprint of?
I don't remember.
I feel like so that was.
That doesn't mean that it didn't.
The blueprint of the house and the gazebo.
Oh, okay. Okay. Dahlia wants to know more about them, so the parents end up forcing Julian to give Dahlia a ride to the library, where they're researching the origins of the house and the origin of the town. They learn about the founder. Oh, Gerard, I was right. And how he ended up dying before the house was done. So there's like the rumors of the house being haunted. They continue with like these cute small talk things where now they're both kind of realizing how well they know each other, but they both end up saying something stupid and personal and potentially offensive to the other one because they're just busy, not addressing their feelings with each other.
Communication.
Right.
Yeah, just being angry at each other.
So, but Dahlia's like really getting to work on this house and she needs a place to be able to do work on a regular basis. So she gets an office in Julian's office, and there's a night where Julian thinks he's the very last one in the building because he always is. And so he goes to walk out, but turns out Dahlia's still there, and her DoorDash delivery person literally dashes away and just hands Julian the food. So he brings it back to her, and she ordered enough food for two, so they end up sharing a meal, and they just continue to have this situation where they just say mean, pointed, but like very accurate things to each other, just like holding up like the really blunt mirrors almost to each other with the things that they're saying.
And this is not even like halfway done with the book. Like we haven't even.
Oh my gosh, no.
We haven't even hit the like main conflict yet.
I know.
They haven't even gotten together
Yes, so we are before 45% of the way of the book at this point. And so, like, the plot and the intricate plot keeps, like, not really progressing because, like, house having more work done. But, like, through the conversations, you learn, like, Dahlia, knows that Julian's dad was a very talented carpenter and sees the intricate woodworking in this particular house and really is pushing, like, Julian's the only one who can do this. Julian, who's so unpracticed because he hasn't done carpentry in 9 years, is the only person
he
who can do...
He hasn't touched the shed with his dad's stuff.
He's the only person who can do this really intricate carpentry. And you learn that, like, Julian hasn't gone in there since his dad died. Like, it's just too... difficult for him, which is, kind of understandable. And this is about 220 pages into the book, which is like a whole book for some books, but there's still another 300 pages in this book. And because the plot is really just character building and not things happening for the first half of the book, like, it's slow. It's great character development. You know the characters so well by the end of the book, but not much happens.
Yeah.
But
until
we hit the 50% point and we start to get some tropes and some plot happening. So sticking with the theme of Mama's Boys, Julian agrees to do his mama favor and go to Detroit to pick up some items for the fall festival. It's like a
huge festival that their town puts on.
Huge festival the town puts on. Julian funds the whole thing because what else do you do when you're a building nerd?
Michigan knows how to throw a festival, guys.
You know, it reminded me of Stars Hollow from, like, Gilmore Girls.
Yes.
That's what I was thinking the entire time.
The cities on, like, Lake Michigan, there on the west side of Michigan, they are like this. They're just adorable and cute, and it's very accurate.
I do wish that, like, one day I can live in a town, like, that's cute and adorable. Like, where we live right now, it's very, like, city.
Yes.
We don't do them. We don't do a fall festival.
We don't have...
It's just always summer.
We do winter festivals. Like, they gave us fake snow, but we never do, like,
the bubbles.
Yeah, exactly.
I think when it's 93 degrees outside and you see the fake leaves,
it's a little hard to festival.
Right, like, it hurts.
Okay, so they go on this trip together.
Dahlia has to go because she needs special art supplies she can't buy at the store in town. They have to go to Detroit.
I remember reading this part being like, okay, finally, here it comes.
Yes.
But also... Amazon.
Right.
All I gotta say.
I know.
Order your stuff from Amazon.
Right?
I think this was the moms trying to push them together.
Oh yeah, this is the meddling moms that we love.
Yes, 1,000%. But so they go to Detroit and, like, oh, Mom must have misread the time.
They're already closed.
Yeah, the place is closed.
Also, they don't use Google Maps that tells you.
Right?
Yeah.
And so their assistants were supposed to book them each a hotel room, but only one hotel room gets booked.
Oh.
And there's, like, lots of other stuff happening in the city that night, so there'll be no other rooms. So, and of course, the room is the king bed. So they share the bed, and they do sleep, each taking turns aware that they were cuddling, but then falling back asleep. And then in the morning, they do sort of almost kiss after sort of making fun of / imitating their neighbors who were just having loud sex.
Oh, yes!
And making, like, comments in response to that.
This scene was so interesting.
Yes. So they obviously, like, get all hot and bothered by this. And they have their first bit of communication that is, of course, like, not all the way there, but I do appreciate it, where they agree to, like, a friends with benefits type thing.
Out of nowhere. So it goes from, like, not liking each other, just, like, bickering, to being like, let's be friends with benefits.
Right, like, I didn't know they were... Like, what about friends? Did you define friends?
We skipped that part.
I know.
There's no friends, it's just benefits.
Yeah. So they, explore a little bit about that. Dahlia's still got her broken arm. So he is like, well, we can't go all the way till your arm's better.
What a gentleman.
Yeah. So they go back to town. It's the Fall Festival. And things are going well until Dahlia's assistant calls her to let her know that, just FYI, TMZ is reporting that Oliver has eloped. And it's caught on camera and it's everywhere. So Dahlia leaves and goes to apparently the only bar in this town. And Julian tracks her down. She's like, where'd you go? And she confides in him and what happened and the exact reason why her and Oliver had broken up at all. So he becomes, like, overprotective, like, do I need to kill him? And she's like, no. And so then he's like, okay, maybe I can just be supportive. And they go back to the Fall Festival Carnival and they have fun together. And then they fall back at kind of, now they're friends again. They fall back into their old habit of playing tricks and pranks on each other. So Julian's just grumpy. And so she decides to overly decorate his office for Christmas. Like, peak just 90s. Like, I'm imagining the giant light bulbs, tinsel everywhere.
She goes all out.
Yes, and it's just
like
the cheesiest, the cheesiest stuff.
Most ridiculous decorations on them.
Also, have you ever in a book not met a grumpy billionaire? I feel like every billionaire in every book is always
apparently
grumpy.
The more money you have, the grumpier you get.
I think it's like a bell curve. Like, and I just want to be at the peaky part, you know? Like, I don't need a billion. No such thing as an ethical billionaire, but like, let's back up a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm fine in the middle, you know?
Right. Well, there's definitely too little money, then you're not happy.
Yeah, exactly.
And too much, too much, not happy. Taylor Swift, just let her know.
Yeah,
she's
I know.
Gonna be there. She's so depressed she actually got her birthday.
Yeah.
Anyways, so Julian, that's what he needs to do. But so they get back to working on the house.
Then Julian has to pull his prank on her.
Yes.
Because she pulled the prank on him, so
with the Christmas trees. So he pulls one on her.
Because she keeps claiming that the house is haunted.
Yes. No, but that's her prank. That's his prank on her. Yes. So everybody's claiming that the house is haunted, Dahlia included, and Julian's like, it's really nothing. Like, it's electrical, it's pipes, we can fix it, it's fine. So he tricks her back into the attic somehow. He goes, like, looking for, like, electrical or something, and then stops making noise. And she's like, oh no, something has happened. No, I have to go into the attic to get
Sorry, I would not go back in that attic.
Right, like, I would be, like,
you don't have a flashlight?
I know.
It's on your phone!
So she goes into the attic, and of course, he's got his cousin there, cousin brother, and they're recording with, like, this giant robotic spider that, like, with light up eyes, and she freaks out, and it's actually pretty funny, and I thought it was a very good prank.
Have you ever played a prank on someone?
No, not
I don't think
like
I
really.
Have. Steph?
No.
Certainly not a scare one, but I am also one of those people, like, if you don't, like, I'm walking in here, I'm walking in, hello, and I'm in the shower or something, like, I will, like, I will freak out.
I'm
like,
trying to think. I don't think, like...
You don't have to play a prank, you just have to exist. And I'm like,
I don't think this was like a really thought out prank. I don't
Your
think
pranks
I've ever...
are great.
Yes.
Yeah.
We haven't gotten to my favorite prank quite yet that goes
Oh, we're almost there.
We're almost there.
We're almost there.
So what happens next?
Oh, well, so Dahlia does, through jealousy of the hired carpenter getting to spend so much time with Dahlia because they're being very specific about the woodworking here, Julian is like, you know what, you're so good, you're promoted, and I'm going to do the carpentry.
Yes.
Because, you know, after taking a full decade off, I probably need to do this intricate carpentry. But, like, book magic, his skills haven't changed at all, and he's the best carpenter in, like, the history of carpenters besides his dad. And so he can do it. And so they, you know, they're both spending a lot of time at the office and some time together, and they agree to have dinner sometime at Julian's house, and they start to communicate better, and her cast is off, so
This is a poignant moment.
become friends with all the benefits at that point. And of course, it's like the best thing that I've ever experienced ever. And then, after they've experienced all of the benefits, they go to Julian's bedroom, which I know this is supposed to be a cute thing, but his bedroom is furnished and decorated exclusively with a variety, like not even a full set of one Designs by Dahlia thing.
It is from all the years.
All of the collections. Like, how creepy. It's just like a little stalker ex, but she does not take it that way. She's like, oh my gosh, he's like a true collector. Like, he just...
He's a real fan.
Yeah.
He's been drinking the Kool-Aid. She,
like, stays for a bit. They're kind of cuddling. I couldn't tell timing-wise if it was the next morning or that same night, but his mom comes over and she's like, oh, my car's in the driveway. She, you know, the mom is like, open up, I know you're in there. And so, like, they come down and she's having the conversation and she, like, it's like, oh, Dahlia, your dress is on inside out. She's like, oh! She's like, just kidding. Like, just getting it. And so they're like, Julian's mom, please don't tell anybody. Like, no one can know. And she's like, well, I've already texted Dahlia's mom because she's my best friend.
And it's like in the group chat now.
Right. And like, everybody knows. And so now it's Thanksgiving dinner. And so it's all like an awful secret that Julian and Dahlia are together. All like the sibling cousins kind of find out right about then because they cook the cutest Thanksgiving dinner together. And after cooking, they volunteer to do the dishes together just to spend more time together. And I don't know that I love anybody enough.
Oh, I hate the dishes.
I don't like the cooking either. Like,
that's why I don't do any of it.
I would rather, Thanksgiving-wise, I would rather do the dishes.
There's just so many.
There are so many.
So many after Thanksgiving.
There are so many. I would rather do the dishes after somebody who cooks and cleans at the same time as cooking. Like, I will load the dinner plates, like, all of that stuff. But I don't want to, like, your pot, we plated that thing 4 hours ago.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't want to, no.
Yeah.
But don't they turn into a water fight?
Yes, they're so cute doing the dishes. And then Julian takes Dahlia to a surprise. And in the next town over, he bought them a house that she can fix up to be her next project so she doesn't get bored here. And at this point, like, some plot has been happening. We are 30% past the last time we checked in. We're at 74%. He admits his feelings that he's falling in love with her. She realizes she feels the same way. They start to, like, out-date. They explore the benefits of dating a billionaire beyond just buying houses. Like, take out from a restaurant in New York City that, like, flies there on a private jet.
$1,000 sushi.
Yes.
Yes. This is when Dahlia's prank comes in.
Yes.
Where her prank fails. She tries to prank him by having them be fake arrested.
But pulled over in the car.
Yes, but they really do the illegal thing, and the deputy who responds has some awful beef with Julian.
So they do.
What might be this illegal thing, Amity?
They had sex in the car. And that's against the law in Lake Wisteria. So they get arrested.
With a mugshot and everything.
Yeah, mugshots and everything. Was there full mugshots? Or was it just like a fake night in jail?
I think it was full mugshots because I remember in the group chat, the mugshot
They had the pictures.
was
Yes.
going through the group chat.
Yes.
And after a bit, Dahlia's like, wait, this isn't how this was supposed to go. This isn't the
right.
This
and
isn't
he's
the
like,
cop.
What? You were trying to fake me too? And all of this is happening while Dahlia had just gotten information that she got a show offer. But the show offer was to do a show specifically in San Francisco, which is where her other shows were. And so she's trying to make a decision about that. She mentioned she's like falling in love with him, and he, I think, has already said I love you at this point. And so they're just a very confusing place relationships-wise. So they do what makes sense, which was have car sex and then spend time in jail.
And then their mothers. To break them out of jail.
And they totally overreact to the fact that these are two very grown-up people who can, like, obviously do everything except for drive themselves home from jail. So Julian is like, you know what? Take the job in San Francisco. Like, this is what you wanted, and I'll move with you. Like,
yeah,
I've wanted something different too. Like, I can step back and still, you know, I'll come back every other week or something to run.
Yeah, I think he lets her go to San Francisco though first because she has some end of year production that she has to do.
Oh, the party?
Or no, I think she has to meet with the production because she wants to see if they'll move
get
it to,
some. Yes.
And so she goes to San Francisco on her own first, and being there at her old place, she realizes this isn't home, and she's like, I'm gonna go tell him, and she opens the door, and there he is.
Yes, well, he comes because she has invited him to that end of the year gala.
Yeah.
That the
Oliver's
production
family
company, who is run by Oliver's family.
Yes.
And the assistant is like, you've RSVP'd yes to this? And she's like, never got an invitation to this. And she's like, oh, do you want to not go? And she's like, heck no, I'm coming, and I've got a hot date. So they bring Julian, and
they run into Oliver and his family and all that fun stuff.
And
I love this scene.
Oliver's new wife is there, and they had been talking about some house that Oliver was gonna buy for her.
For $8 million.
Yeah, so Julian outbids them by $2 million and buys this house for $10 million that he doesn't even want because he's a billionaire with a few money.
Yes.
Yes. It's really petty. And then Julian then calls in a favor to the Kane brothers, like those Disney brothers, for specifically the streaming services, getting Dahlia a meeting with their streaming service executive, and then she's got a solo show offer to keep doing shows in Lake Wisteria. And then it's Christmas. The plot just keeps moving here. Now it's rapid. It's Christmas. Julian has been in the wood shop working on this really intricate jewelry box. His mama helped him.
Yeah.
Which was, like, touching.
So sweet.
After all of the meddling, like, at least she was nice, too. But inside that jewelry box is the keys to the blue house that they've been fixing up together. and this one they're going to keep and move in. And he apparently bought it years ago and it went on sale because she had said in high school that if she had 3 wishes, one of them would be to have that house. So he's a little creepy with his shrine.
Great memory.
Dahlia and the house that she wanted, and like, good thing this all worked out because this could have been a totally different kind of book. So 6 months later, they have like sort of a sleepover or something in the blue house. Julian officially lives there, but Dahlia just stays most nights. She like won't live with somebody again until they're officially married. So one morning he's just like, what if we got married today? And she's like, that's so funny. He's like, no, let's do it. And then everyone just happens to be available, and her sister has a dress that looks just like a dress she would want, and there's a ring that's just like Dahlia would want, and all of that, and then everything is there together. So they just get married in the gazebo like that founder guy wanted.
Yes, but he somehow hid. He was building this gazebo and had it like constructed overnight by his team.
You have $1 billion.
I know.
You can really do anything.
You're the logistics person here. Like,
it's like just a gazebo, and maybe she's a really strong sleeper.
Yeah.
I get that.
Well, maybe it was made in parts, and so it was like overnight.
Right.
True. I think he had all of them like cards.
I imagine it like a pull string, and
Yes.
then I'm sure that's not exactly how it was, but
kind of like a tent.
yeah. Well, maybe she came over because I don't know. 6 months later, just kidding. It's summertime. I was like, maybe she came over at like 5 o'clock, and it's Michigan, so it's dark, and so like.
True.
It was actually built all day, but it's not. It was 6 months later. 6 months after Christmas is the summer. It's like light until 10 o'clock and light again at 4 a.m. in Michigan. So.
If someone sprung a wedding on you, like your current husband, would you have gone through with it?
I don't know. So she's already gone through all of the stress of planning a wedding.
True.
That she didn't even get to see through, and planning a wedding sucks.
It really does.
So if I knew how awful planning a wedding was, and someone was like, hey, all of the same people can come, but you don't have to do any of the work, you in? I'm pretty sure I'd be like, hell yeah.
But then also thinking about how much planning goes into a wedding, like, how would that work? Like, does my dress all of a sudden fit? Because
it's a billionaire. Like these are us problems.
No,
they are not billionaires.
Buys a $10 million house.
Right, like
nothing.
Oh, the dress doesn't fit right. Awesome, I've got a team of seamstresses here to fix this.
To rip it off of you, sew it back together in the next 5 minutes.
Right. Well, and like here's this other custom fitted thing that I'm sure you wore to something recently because you have your TV show and like I'm a billionaire, and so hey, can you measure it out to this dress and make this dress fit this same body? Like,
I mean, these make sense. All right.
Okay.
If you're a billionaire, if any billionaires need help spending their money,
hit us up.
Yes.
I got you. I can help make things happen for you. All right. So, did you have a favorite character?
I'm gonna go Julian.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did I? I don't know. This one was hard for me to connect to the characters. A, because I'm not a billionaire.
Not? That'll do it.
B, I like even Dahlia. I just couldn't connect with her because of everything that she'd been through, so I didn't know. So it was a little more difficult. It'll be interesting for me to read the second book because I'm curious about this nanny.
Yeah.
So
I don't know that I had a favorite character. The meddling moms were funny, but like they certainly were not my favorite character.
I think it was a little difficult to have a favorite character with this book. I don't know.
It was a basic 50-50 split too.
yes.
And yeah, like I'm not a billionaire. I'm not Dahlia either.
Yeah.
I feel like Julian was probably the most emotionally mature of the two main characters, maybe.
Ish.
He was also very emotionally mature for a male. Like, I have yet to meet a male this emotionally mature, except they do, like...
except for he's, like, still kind of creepily obsessed with his high school crush.
Yeah.
College crush.
When you bring that up, yes.
Yes. I didn't realize that until you said it.
Some of our favorite tropes were in here. Enemies to lovers, forced proximity.
Second chance.
I don't know that we've done a second chance yet.
No,
But this was in it.
This was it.
This was it.
First.
Yeah.
This was our first second chance. Some of that jealousy. I felt like his jealousy was like, you want me to kill him? Like, calm yourself.
Let's maybe not get arrested.
Yes.
Again.
But I guess he didn't kill him. He just spent $10 million to buy the house that he wanted instead.
That's a great prank.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right, so Dahlia was faced, and it was like recurring in the book, would you marry someone whose family made you go through those hoops?
No. Because what other hoops are you going to have down the line?
Yeah. I also wonder if somebody's family would make me go through those hoops, I would want that person to stand up for me. You know what I mean? Where Oliver didn't stand up for her, and even when he was like, oh, well, I guess
nothing
I
can
do.
do.
Like, I'll just find the next person, even though we've been together for 9 years.
But so if the test had come back normal.
Yeah, she would have married him.
She would have been miserable.
Well,
maybe.
Right, like that's what I don't know. Like, were they... Not that we needed to do more time at building backstories on anybody, but like, were they nice, normal, regular people and just kind of, this is what our family has always done since genetic testing has become available?
I feel like there may have been some red flags prior to this genetic testing.
I would hope. Like,
it sounded I got the impression that the family was not very welcoming to Dahlia.
Yes, she always felt like nervous around them, but also 9 years together and you don't realize this family's a little...
Right, like that's a long time. Like, where were you beforehand?
Yeah.
So, book 2, Love Unwritten, Rafa's story, which I'm excited about. I'm hoping it's not 520 pages, but it does come out June 18th. So I'm excited to get into that. Overall impression of the book. Let's rate it out of 10.
6.5.
Okay, I'll go. I'll do 6.5 too. I think that's like a good.
This is our first unanimous one. I also picked 6.5. Like, it was entertaining, but it was long.
It was very long.
Yes.
Unnecessarily long.
Great character development. I just didn't need to develop the characters that much.
It could have been 2 books. Maybe. I don't know.
I probably wouldn't have read the second one.
No.
Where would it have cut off?
When they went to San Francisco, maybe. I don't know. It was... Maybe take out the whole founder stuff. I think there was little stories, sub-stories that we could have done without.
We could have edited away.
Yeah.
So our next book for our next episode is going to be The Quit List by Katie Bailey.
Oh, excited to read that one.
Is it 500 pages?
Oh, yeah.
We should start looking at how many pages something is.
Yeah, we
before
need to review this.
All right, well, now that you know how we feel about long books, thanks for listening to our reviews, rants, and ramblings. Remember, if you also read this book and you review it on Amazon or Goodreads, please include that Schmindel Unlimited sent you. And if you wouldn't mind a quick review on your podcast platform, we would be forever grateful. Have a great weekish, and we can't wait to read, review, rant, and ramble about the next book with you. Bye!